Welcome back, friend. Today's story is a true spooky story that brings us on the other side of the world, all the way to Blue Mountains, Australia. It was told to me by a work colleague about 10 years ago. His name is Peter, and he is a very nice chap. Very friendly, good family man, really into his Bible. I remember very well that he told me that story on a bright sunny day. But even this did not make it less spooky. So the story goes like this. Once Peter and his wife went for a road trip to Blue Mountains. For those of you who do not know, Blue Mountains is a region of Australia west of Sydney. It is famous for its dramatic scenery that has everything you can wish for in a beautiful mountainous landscape. Steep cliffs, waterfalls, misty gullies and gorges, all submerged into the lush eucalyptus forest. One of the local wonders is a famous rock formation by the name of Three Sisters, which is listed as UNESCO World Heritage Site. But on top of all this beauty, Blue Mountains are also famous for having a distinct dark side. It is considered to be the spookiest place in New South Wales. They say the place is swarming with ghosts and spirits that have not been laid to eternal rest. Some of them are happy, some of them are not. Their presence can be felt anywhere around the region. Paranormal tours are one of the specialty of this region. Visitors have seen strange moving lights, been scratched or pushed by an invisible force. Some say that they have even resolved their grief after receiving a message from their loved ones on the other side. Anyway, Peter and his wife, like most people, went to enjoy the hikes, local culture and eateries. The Blue Mountains region is dotted with charming small towns and villages, all of which are very picturesque. They are generally little quiet towns with one main street where you will find all your cafes, antique galleries and other shops. Some of the buildings in these towns date back to early 1800s, and when you walk down a street like this, you feel like you have traveled back in time. Everything around the place makes you feel very relaxed. Friendly people, slow pace of life, tasty food, great coffee and wine. All of this presents like happy, seemingly innocent sceneries, but we all know that things that do not arouse suspicion are the ones to watch out for the most. Peter and his wife have stayed in one of those wondrous heritage buildings that is now refurbished for the B&B accommodation. It was a cute Federation-style terraced building, the type that is commonly found in older inner-city areas of Australian towns. After a full-on day hiking through the rugged mountainous terrain, they have felt happy and achieved. They had a lovely dinner in one of the local restaurants, which they have finished with a modest glass of wine. The meal made them feel very sleepy and relaxed, and the couple went upstairs to their room to have some good night's sleep. It was about midnight when Peter suddenly awoke from his slumber, as if something had poked him awake. He looked around. His wife was still sleeping calmly next to him. Everything was very quiet around the hotel. Suddenly he noticed hardly visible glow coming from the gap under the door. The glow was moving down the hall on the other side of the door, and he could tell that it was coming closer and closer. When this ethereal light approached the door, it slowly opened and he saw a little girl standing in the hallway. She was about 5-6 years old and was wearing an early 19th century outfit, loose dress with full body apron with ruffled edging. The girl looked directly at Peter and waved as if inviting him to follow her. Peter hesitated for a moment, but then he felt as if he's being compelled, as if he must follow the girl, that it is important. Peter got up and let himself be guided by the girl. She took him along the corridor and down the stairs to the guest parlor, to the dining room, to the lobby. The girl was walking slowly through the rooms, as if a guide on a tour. Every room they saw did not look like the rooms Peter has been to during the daytime. These rooms looked as if 200 years ago. All the furniture and items were right from the antique shop, and Peter couldn't believe his eyes to the change from what he saw during the day. Next, the girl took Peter on a tour of the staff-only rooms. The kitchen, the laundry, pantry. Again, everything was as if snapped out from a historical movie or a museum. The girl kept walking forward and started on the stairs that went to the cellar. The cellar was dark and full of dusty shelves and huge chests. There was also a wine rack and some sacks of potato or some other vegetables. The girl did not stop anywhere and just kept walking. Peter followed. Now they started back on the stairs and went up to the second story, where guest rooms are in the hallway. From the hallway they followed through to the terrace. This is where the girl suddenly stopped, looked directly at Peter, and then leaped in the air onto a railing and off the terrace. Peter instinctively looked down, prepared to see a dead body, but there she was, happily sitting in the lap of a woman in a rocking chair. The woman was stroking her hair gently, and her lips were moving as if she was singing a lullaby. The girl curled up in her lap and was looking very peaceful and content. Even though this scene represented nothing scary, Peter was awestruck at the moment, as if something terrible has happened, something that cannot be fixed in forever. This is when he woke up. This was all a dream, but it was so vivid, he could swear it was true. In the morning, Peter came down for breakfast to the dining room. Everything looked like it was before the dream. All plain and of no particular notice. Peter, still under a deep impression from his dream, started chatting to the lady serving the breakfast and telling her all about his unusual dream. The lady suddenly looked at him as if he struck a nerve. She asked him to tell her all the details. How did the little girl look like? How did the lady in the rocking chair look like? How did the cellar look like? And so on. Peter was so surprised at such curiosity and wondered why. "Oh, it's just I'm the owner of the hotel for years now," said the lady, "and I know that the hotel has been a family business for a long time before that too. The previous owners told me the story of the people who owned it about mid-19th century. This is how their family came to own the hotel more than a century ago. They said that it was owned by a young family, the father, the mother, and their daughter. All was going very well for that family, until one day this little girl fell off the railing and broke her neck. The mother was struck with grief and never recovered. She committed suicide not long after her daughter passed away. The father, of course, sold the hotel and moved away." This is when the old lady paused for a while. Then she added, "You are not the only one who the young girl visited. Sometimes she chooses a random person to tell her story to. And I always know that this is true, because people describe everything in such detail that cannot be a mere coincidence. As for the cellar, this cellar does not exist anymore. It was already concreted out due to some floods that happened in the previous years before I bought the place." Peter and the woman paused, wondering what keeps the little girl around. Why does she come back to tell her story again and again? Thank you for listening and have a nice nightmare.